Midnight Desires. The small town of Harrow's End was known for its quiet nights and the thick fog that rolled in from the nearby forest, giving it an almost mystical quality. It was a place where secrets were hidden in plain sight, and the line between reality and the supernatural was often blurred. Elena Carlyle was a recent addition to Harrow's End, having moved there to escape the frenetic pace of city life. She had inherited a quaint, old cottage from her late aunt, a woman she barely knew. The cottage, nestled on the outskirts of the town, was surrounded by dense woods and a serene, albeit eerie, silence. Elena was a writer, and she found the solitude inspiring. She would spend her days typing away, crafting stories of romance and adventure, drawing from the mysterious aura of her new home. But it was the nights that intrigued her the most. The town seemed to come alive under the cover of darkness, and Elena often found herself staring out of her window, watching the fog swirl and shift like ghostly apparitions. The deeper she went, the brighter the light became, until she found herself standing in a small clearing. In the center of the clearing was an old, ornate mirror, its surface shimmering with an ethereal light. Elena approached it cautiously, her breath visible in the cold night air. As she gazed into the mirror, she saw not her reflection, but a dark, handsome stranger staring back at her. "Who are you?" Elena whispered, captivated by the intensity of his gaze. "I am Aidan," the stranger replied, his voice echoing through the clearing. "I have been waiting for you, Elena." Elena blinked, trying to make sense of what she was seeing. Aidan's face was strikingly handsome, with sharp features and piercing blue eyes that seemed to see right through her. His presence was both mesmerizing and unsettling. "How do you know my name?" Elena asked, her voice trembling slightly. "I know many things," Aidan replied cryptically, "including the fact that you are searching for something, even if you do not yet realize it." Elena's mind raced. How could this stranger, this apparition, know anything about her? And what was she searching for? Her life had been filled with unanswered questions since her move to Harrow's End, but she had never considered that there might be a supernatural element to it all. "I don't understand," she said, shaking her head. "What do you mean?" Aidan smiled, a slow, enigmatic smile that sent shivers down her spine. "Come with me, Elena. There is much you need to see." Without waiting for her response, he extended his hand. Elena hesitated for a moment, then, driven by an inexplicable urge, she reached out and took it. The moment their hands touched, the world around them seemed to dissolve, and Elena felt herself being pulled into the mirror. Elena found herself standing in a realm unlike anything she had ever seen. The sky was a deep, starless black, illuminated only by the soft glow of countless floating lanterns. The air was filled with the scent of jasmine and the distant sound of ethereal music. "Where are we?" she asked, looking around in awe. "This is the realm of midnight," Aidan replied. "A place that exists between worlds, where desires and dreams take on a life of their own." As they walked through the realm, Elena saw beings of all shapes and sizes, each one more fantastical than the last. There were creatures with wings of shimmering gold, beings made entirely of light, and shadowy figures that seemed to meld into the darkness. All of them moved with a purpose, as if driven by some unseen force. "What is this place?" Elena asked, her curiosity growing with each passing moment. "It is a place of possibilities," Aidan said. "A place where the boundaries of reality are blurred, and where one's deepest desires can be brought to life." Elena felt a strange sense of belonging in this realm, as if she had been searching for it her entire life. but she also felt a twinge of fear. What were her deepest desires? And what would happen if they were brought to life? Aidan led Elena to a grand, ancient castle at the heart of the realm. Its towers reached into the dark sky, and its walls were adorned with intricate carvings that seemed to tell a story of love, loss, and longing. Inside the castle, they entered a magnificent hall filled with mirrors. Each mirror reflected a different scene, a different possibility. Elena saw herself in various lives, living out dreams she had never dared to pursue. These mirrors show what could be, Aidan explained. They reveal the desires hidden deep within your heart. Elena's eyes were drawn to one mirror in particular. In it, she saw herself entwined with Aidan, their bodies moving together in a passionate dance of intimacy and longing. She saw herself surrendering to him, giving in to the desires she had kept locked away for so long. "Is this real?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "It can be," Aidan replied, his voice husky with promise. "If you are willing to embrace it." Elena felt a powerful temptation. The life she saw in the mirror was everything she had ever wanted, but she also felt a sense of unease. What would she have to sacrifice to make it a reality? Aidan's gaze was intense as he watched Elena struggle with her decision. "Nothing worth having comes without a price," he said softly. "But sometimes the rewards are worth the risks." Elena looked into the mirror again. The life it showed was so beautiful, so perfect. But she knew that it wasn't real, that it was just a reflection of her desires. And yet, the possibility was so tantalizing. "What do I have to do?" she asked, turning to Aidan. "Trust me," he said, taking her hand once more. "And let go of your fears." Elena closed her eyes and took a deep breath. She knew that this decision would change her life forever. But she also knew that she couldn't keep living in the shadows of her own doubts. "I trust you," she said, opening her eyes. Aidan smiled, and the world around them began to shift and change. The mirrors shattered, and the hall filled with a brilliant light. Elena felt a surge of energy, as if her very soul was being transformed. When the light faded, Elena found herself back in her cottage, but everything felt different. The air was charged with a new energy, and she felt a sense of purpose and determination that she had never felt before. She walked to her desk and opened her laptop. The words flowed effortlessly, as if the story she had always wanted to tell was finally within her grasp. Hours passed, but she barely noticed. She was lost in her writing, lost in the world she was creating. Days turned into weeks, and Elena's life began to change in ways she had never imagined. Her stories gained recognition, and soon she was a celebrated author. She made new friends, found love, and lived a life filled with joy and fulfillment. But she never forgot the realm of midnight or the enigmatic Aidan. She knew that it was their encounter that had set her on this path, and she often wondered if she would ever see him again. One night, as the fog rolled in and the town of Harrow's End was shrouded in its mystical embrace, Elena felt a familiar pull. She walked into the woods behind her cottage, guided by an unseen force. In the clearing, she found the old mirror, its surface shimmering with that same ethereal light. As she gazed into it, Aidan's face appeared once more. He looked at her with the same intensity, but there was a softness in his eyes that hadn't been there before. "Elena," he said, his voice like a gentle breeze, "you have done well." Tears filled Elena's eyes as she reached out to touch the mirror. "Thank you," she whispered, "for everything." Aidan smiled. "Your journey is far from over," he said. "Remember, the realm of midnight is always here, waiting for those who dare to dream." With that, his image faded, and the mirror returned to its normal, reflective state. But Elena knew that the magic of that night would stay with her forever. a reminder that sometimes our deepest desires can lead us to the most extraordinary places. As she walked back to her cottage, she felt a sense of peace and contentment. She knew that no matter what challenges lay ahead, she had the strength to face them, because she had discovered the power of her own desires and the courage to pursue them. And that, she realized, was the true magic of midnight desires. As she lay in bed that night, she could not stop thinking of Aidan and the image in the last mirror. Did she really make the right choice? Will she ever see Aidan again? What if she chose that mirror? Thank you for listening to this story. If you enjoyed it, please consider subscribing and giving the story a like, as we use this to create a sequel. Give it a thumbs up if you want to know what happened.